Arriving in Xanten, a very old city in Germany, is like walking through a threshold where time refuses to remain linear. The journey begins in the surrounding fields, where the slow turn of the old windmill greets the traveler. Its steady rhythm is a prelude to the larger drama, reminding us that all grandeur rests upon the daily grind of bread and sustenance. Then comes the medieval gate, a stone arch that both divides and unites. Passing through it is to leave behind the modern countryside and step into a layered play of epochs, Roman foundations beneath, medieval facades above, Gothic spires on the horizon. The first glimpse of the cathedral tower, rising above rooftops, reveals immediately that this town is not provincial but monumental, a provincial capital of memory, where each age rehearses its lines. The sound changes here, the muted earth tones of the fields give way to the crisp echoes of footsteps on cobblestones. Streets narrow, facades lean inward, and the past presses closer. The town is no museum piece. It breathes, argues, whispers, each corner a reminder that Xanten is not one story but a choir of stories, layered and resonant. The traveler approaching Xanten begins not in the heart of the city but in its edges, where the Rhine winds slowly and the fields stretch wide. Here the first sentinel of Xanten greets the eye, the old windmill, sails revolving lazily, yet rhythmically, a reminder that all grandeur begins with bread. Its creaking timbers and steady turn announce the continuity of life across centuries, Roman legionary, Frankish settler, medieval canon, or modern pilgrim, all depended on grain ground into flour. Then comes the passage through the medieval gate. The gate does more than protect, it stages the transformation from countryside to civic order. Passing under its arch feels like moving between centuries. On the far side, cobblestones replace dirt paths, facades narrow the view, and the cathedral tower asserts itself over the horizon. The air is sharper here, charged with echoes. Xanten is no ordinary town. It is a place where Roman stone, Christian martyrdom, Frankish ambition, Sicambrian legend, and civic independence all overlap. It is, in truth, a stage, one where each age has left its set pieces standing, so that even today the traveler cannot escape the sense of moving through a drama already in progress. The origins of Xanten lie in the Roman colony of Ulpia Traiana, founded in the 1st century CE by Emperor Trajan. It was no frontier outpost but a full-scale Roman city, laid out with grid streets, aqueducts, amphitheater, baths, and temples. At its height, it housed perhaps 10 to 15,000 people, merchants, soldiers, artisans, families of legionaries. The amphitheater once resounded with the roar of crowds, gladiatorial combat, and the ritual dramas of empire. Roman baths offered both cleanliness and social connection, a choreography of water, steam, and conversation. Temples rose in marble and stone, dedicated to Jupiter, Mercury, and Mars, gods invoked not only for protection but also as declarations of Roman supremacy. The colony declined after the 3rd century, struck by invasions, economic contraction, and the slow withdrawal of imperial power. Yet its stones did not vanish. Medieval masons plundered them for walls and churches. Fragments of Roman inscriptions appear today in the fabric of later buildings. Beneath the cobblestones, the Roman grid still whispers its geometry. And in legend, the Romans never left. They became part of Xanten's mythic inheritance, their ruins transformed into stories of saints and heroes. Saint Victor, the town's patron, was said to have been a Roman soldier who died a martyr's death. The amphitheater was remembered as a place of Christian suffering, even if archaeology tells another story. Thus, Rome survived in both stone and imagination, the unseen script beneath Xanten's later medieval performance. Between Rome and the Middle Ages lie centuries of migration, memory, and myth. Among the tribes who passed through this region were the Sicambrians, fierce Germanic peoples who fought Rome and later merged into the Confederation of the Franks. Medieval chroniclers, eager to give the Franks a noble origin, claimed descent from the Sicambrians. In this way, they transformed raw memory into lineage, legend into legitimacy. For Xanten, this mythic link mattered. The Sicambrians were remembered as kin of Troy, wanderers who carried with them a sense of destiny. The Frankish kings, especially under Clovis and his Merovingian heirs, claimed that when Clovis was baptized, the cry rang out, "Bend the neck, proud Sicambrian, and adore what you once burned." This legendary phrase, echoing across centuries, tied Xanten into the greater narrative of Europe, from Troy to the Rhine, from Sicambrians to Merovingians, from pagan warriors to Christian kings. It offered Xanten not only a Roman and Christian foundation but also a mythic bridge into the destiny of the Franks. When the Roman order collapsed, Xanten did not vanish. It transformed into a Merovingian stronghold, a place of memory and Christian devotion. The martyrdom of Saint Victor became the cornerstone of its identity, making Xanten both a local and universal site of faith. Pilgrims came to honor the soldier saint, and where pilgrims came, wealth followed. At the center of Xanten, the Cathedral of Saint Victor commands not just space but imagination. Its construction began in the 13th century, a bold Gothic project that took centuries to complete. Every stone is ambition, every vault an argument for eternity. Entering the nave, one feels the stone forest rise upward. Light streams through stained glass, each window a tableau, martyrdoms, saints, emperors, parables. The very air seems choreographed, guiding the eye heavenward, commanding awe. The choir stalls tell another story, carved saints alongside fantastical creatures, a reminder that the sacred was always accompanied by imagination. The treasury holds relics that attracted pilgrims for centuries, transforming Xanten into a destination of devotion and wealth. But the cathedral was more than a church, it was the seat of power for the chapter of canons, a community of clergy who ruled much of Xanten's affairs. Their revenues came from noble donations, landholdings, and tithes, making them as much lords as priests. Within these walls, alliances were forged with dukes and emperors, decrees were read that shaped not just spiritual life but civic law. The cathedral, then, is both sanctuary and fortress, an architectural declaration that faith and authority in Xanten were inseparable. The Merovingian dynasty, with their long-haired kings and their semi-sacred aura, were keen to associate themselves with saints and martyrs. Xanten thus became one of many nodes in the great network of sanctity that legitimized royal power. Monasteries were founded, churches erected, and relics enshrined. By the Carolingian era, Xanten grew in importance. Charlemagne's empire valued places like Xanten as frontier cities of order, staging grounds for expansion and consolidation. The cathedral precinct was expanded, schools were established by clerics, and the memory of Rome was harnessed to support the new Christian empire. The Cathedral of St. Victor is Xanten's crowning jewel. From the outside, its Gothic spires command the skyline, but inside it is a world unto itself, a stone forest of theology and drama. The nave, entering, one feels immediately dwarfed. Vaulted ceilings soar upward, the ribs converging like branches, guiding the gaze heavenward. Sunlight filters through glass, painting the stone floor with shifting patterns of blue, red, and gold. The play of light is deliberate, a daily sermon without words, a cosmic theater performed by the sun itself. Stained glass windows, each window narrates a story, the Passion of Christ, the martyrdom of Saint Victor, episodes from the lives of saints. For medieval worshippers, these were not mere decorations but living books. Illiterate citizens could read salvation in color and light. Choir stalls, carved from dark wood, the choir stalls contain saints, prophets, and fantastical creatures. Grotesques grin alongside solemn bishops, reminding us that faith was never sterile but alive with imagination. Monks and canons sat here daily, chanting the offices, their voices reverberating in the vaults. The treasury, here relics gleamed, bones of martyrs, jeweled reliquaries, liturgical vessels of gold and silver. Pilgrims came to see, to touch, to hope. Each relic was both spiritual magnet and economic asset, attracting devotion and sustaining wealth. Altars and chapels, side chapels contain altars donated by noble families. Heraldic shields still adorn some, silent testimonies to alliances between cathedral and knightly patrons. Each altar is both devotion and politics, a stage where nobles inscribed their legacy in stone. The cathedral interior is not simply architecture. It is a script, a performance space where theology, memory, politics, and devotion converged. If the cathedral is the voice of heaven, the Rathaus and Market Square are the voices of earth. Here the burghers, merchants, and guilds asserted their power. The Rathaus, with its pointed gables and proud windows, stands as a symbol that the town was not merely a clerical fief but a civic body with rights and responsibilities. Inside the Rathaus, councillors met to regulate markets, negotiate taxes, and resist overreach by the Archbishop of Cologne. Guild banners once hung from its beams, documents sealed in wax declared the will of the citizens. Outside, the market was a theater of color, cloth merchants, fishmongers, farmers, bakers, each calling their wares. Foreign traders from Cologne or Cleves added new accents to the soundscape. On feast days, the square transformed into a stage for tournaments, processions, or proclamations. Heralds read decrees, knights jousted, minstrels played. The square was the civic heart, equal in significance to the cathedral, the place where earth answered heaven. Standing on the square, one senses the geometry of power, the cathedral looming on one side, the Rathaus answering from the other. The space between them is no accident, it is the stage where sacred and secular confronted one another. The Rathaus, with its Gothic gables and proud facade, spoke for the burghers, the merchants and citizens whose wealth came not from relics but from trade. Here, council meetings debated taxation, guilds defended their privileges, and citizens petitioned against the heavy hand of Cologne's archbishops. The Rathaus bell once rang out not only in celebration but also in alarm, summoning townsfolk during sieges or fires. Markets filled the square weekly, transforming it into a carnival of goods, colors, and languages. Farmers sold grain beside imported wares from Cologne and Cleves. Pilgrims heading to the cathedral passed merchants hawking souvenirs of St. Viktor. And above all, heraldic banners fluttered, declaring the presence of noble patrons or visiting dignitaries. The Rathaus thus embodies the other half of Xanten's story, the assertion that a town is not only a chapter of priests but a republic of citizens, jealous of their freedoms, eager to carve their own voice into history. Xanten once hosted multiple monastic institutions. The White Monastery Church, with its pale stone, embodied simplicity and humility in contrast to the cathedral's grandeur. Benedictine monks prayed and labored here, their lives shaped by ora et labora, prayer and work. Other cloisters sheltered Dominicans and Franciscans. Xanten once hosted multiple monastic institutions. The White Monastery Church, with its pale stone, embodied simplicity and humility in contrast to the cathedral's grandeur. Benedictine monks prayed and labored here, their lives shaped by ora et labora, prayer and work. Other cloisters sheltered Dominicans and Franciscans. Within their walls, silence and discipline ruled. Scriptoria preserved learning, herb gardens offered medicine, goose houses sheltered travelers. These communities were not isolated from the town but deeply woven into it, teaching, healing, advising, and at times clashing with the cathedral chapter over land and privileges. The white monastery church, with its pale stone and simpler Gothic lines, contrasts with the grandeur of St. Viktor. It tells the story of a different spirituality, one of poverty, humility, and service. Here, monks copied manuscripts, offered hospitality, and buried the town's dead. Within their cloisters, silence was the dominant sound, punctuated only by the rhythm of prayer. These monastic institutions were schools as well as sanctuaries. They educated young clerics, preserved learning, and offered medical care. During wars, their walls sheltered refugees. Yet they were also embroiled in politics, their lands and tithes often contested between cathedral canons, noble patrons, and ambitious dukes. Walking their remains today, one feels a different kind of theatricality, not the spectacle of stained glass, but the subtle performance of discipline, humility, and endurance. In times of war, monasteries became sanctuaries. Their cloisters filled with refugees, their chapels with prayers for deliverance. Thus, the monastic world was both separate and integral, a quieter stage that balanced the louder drama of the market and the cathedral. Xanten's medieval history is one of tension between powers. The archbishops of Cologne ruled nominally, their banners flying above the walls. Yet the dukes of Cleves constantly challenged them, seeking to absorb Xanten into their growing duchy. Sieges scarred the town. One year Cologne's men patrolled the walls, the next Cleves soldiers marched through the gates. Nobles pledged and broke oaths, their heraldry shifting allegiances like chess pieces. The citizens often bore the brunt, higher taxes, requisition supplies, forced billeting of troops. Yet these conflicts also brought pageantry. Knights staged tournaments to display prowess and loyalty. Feasts filled the town with music and banners. Chronicles tell of emissaries negotiating by candlelight in the Rathaus, of cannons praying for peace while soldiers sharpened swords outside the gates. Xanten's medieval history is a tapestry of noble rivalries. The archbishops of Cologne, nominal overlords of the town, were both protectors and exploiters. They built walls, but they also drained resources. Their banners once flew over the gates, reminding citizens of distant authority. Yet the dukes of Cleves coveted Xanten, and their rivalry with Cologne brought sieges, negotiations, and shifting loyalties. Chronicles tell of knights clashing on the very fields outside the walls, of treaties signed in candlelit halls, of citizens uncertain whether tomorrow would bring Cologne's taxes or Cleves soldiers. Local knightly families, bearing names now faded into obscurity, pledged service to one side or the other, often changing allegiance to preserve their estates. Tournaments were staged in the square, part chivalric theater, part political display. Each event transformed the town into a grand stage, with banners, feasts, and oaths echoing beneath the cathedral spire. Thus, to walk Xanten streets is to hear faintly the hoofbeats of horses, the clatter of armor, the proclamations of heralds. The town was never a static backdrop but a contested theater where noble ambition and civic resilience played their endless game. For the people of Xanten, history was never abstract. It was lived in bread prices, burned fields, festivals, and banners flying above the walls. Later centuries brought quieter developments. The sanatorium park, designed for health and leisure, reflects an age that valued wellness as civic duty. Its tree-lined paths echo earlier monastic cloisters, its open lawns echo Roman baths. Each era reinvented the idea that Xanten must provide not only defense and devotion but also renewal. No account of Xanten is complete without Siegfried. The museum dedicated to him reconstructs the world of the Nibelungenlied, dragons, swords, betrayal, and heroism. For Xanten, Siegfried is not only legend but identity. To claim him is to claim a place in the mythic imagination of Europe. Thus, Xanten is not merely Roman or Christian. It is also legendary, a town where history and myth cohabit. Taken together, Xanten's urban layout is choreography. The cathedral commands the skyline, the Rathaus asserts civic pride, monasteries offer silence, markets roar with trade, windmills grind grain, and parks offer rest. Each is a stage, each has its actors, priests chanting, counselors debating, knights jousting, monks copying, merchants selling, pilgrims praying. The town is not a backdrop but a play in perpetual performance. Xanten is a dialogue, Roman colony, Sicambrian legend, Merovingian sanctity, Carolingian order, Gothic cathedral, monastic silence, noble conflict, civic assertion, modern wellness. Each age has left its voice in stone, legend, or ritual. To walk here is to hear them all at once, the Roman amphitheater's roar, the Sicambrian cry at Clovis baptism, the chants of monks, the clash of knights, the arguments of burghers, the bells of Saint Victor, the whisper of Siegfried's myth. Xanten is not simply visited, it is entered as one enters a play. And in walking its streets, we become part of the performance, carrying the echo of all its ages into our own. Thank you for joining me on this journey into our shared past. If today's episode sparked your curiosity about where we come from and where we're going, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Search for Origin. Here, history, faith, and science come together to reveal the deeper stories that shaped our world. And if you're ready to walk in the footsteps of the past yourself, I now offer exclusive museum and city tours in the Netherlands and Germany. Discover the hidden layers of art, culture, and faith with a personal guide who speaks your language and knows the ground you're walking on. To book a tour or ask questions, reach out at dukes@tonline.de, that is DJOEKS@tonline.de, or look at the information in the channel's description. Your origin story is waiting. See you all in the next episode.